In the 2021 NFL Draft, basically every single mock draft you saw for a certain point was saying that Penei Sewell was going to go fifth to the Cincinnati Bengals. That's what everyone was expecting. The Bengals need an offensive lineman, and Sewell, this sort of generational prospect. However, the Bengals had other ideas, and they decided to go with Jamar Chase, the elite level wide receiver prospect, as he was also teammates with Joe Burrow, and they wanted to kind of maximize their passing attack. Well, we are now several years removed from that. Both guys have had great success, and I figured it could be a fun video looking back on it now, comparing the two, and giving my opinions on who's better and what was the correct pick. Let's just get into it. So first, we can start off with some Penei Sewell film, and again, offensive line film, you can only learn so much from like a film study like what you're watching, because so much of it is just how consistent are you. But just take my word for it, Sewell is consistent, and he consistently doesn't just make good plays, but great ones. Ones like this, where you see it's going to be a double team block, then he's going to get off that double team to get up to the next level and block Fred Warner. Well, when this play begins, you see how he does get to that next level, and he is now in position to block, again, Fred Warner, debatably the best off-ball linebacker in the game. I don't even think debatably, I just think he is. But you see, Sewell is so good at getting to that next level. This is part of what makes that Lions rushing attack so valuable, is having a guy like him who you can just trust, along with, four other good offensive linemen. As you see, he finishes off this block very well, and they're able to pick up a big gain. So Sewell is absolutely capable of these, again, star-type plays is how I would really phrase it. And to be honest, it's not just the running game. I think running game is what he gets the most credit for, but, it's a passing league. You got to be able to pass block as well. And watch how on this play, so it's going to be one-on-one against Chase Young. And, he got a lot of attention against Chase Young, as Chase Young tends to go up against right tackles, or last year for the 49ers, he would. And it was kind of funny how, even though the 49ers won this game, after this game, pretty much all of the talk was about how Chase Young isn't living up to the trade. And a big part of it was because of how well Sewell did against him. Watch as, tight end is going to chip Young for a little bit. That certainly helps Sewell. I mean, Sewell just completely, blocked him out of the way. And that's what, again, it's a consistency thing. Pretty much all game he was doing this. Young was not able to get much of anything going against Sewell. And this is what Sewell just brings to the table. If you want to look at Pro Football Focus grades, if those are your kind of thing, you can see that his grades weren't elite in 2021 or 2022, but last year it was fantastic. Pass blocking very good at 79.2, but a ridiculous 95.1 overall run block is what allowed him to be so effective. Moving over to Jamar Chase, though, he's had a bit of an interesting career so far. The first year, it was just kind of accepted that Chase was the better player. Not to say that, again, you saw the PFF grades, like, Sewell was still good as a rookie, but Chase was just so dominant in his first year, leading the Bengals to a playoff appearance, not a playoff appearance, a Super Bowl appearance against the Rams, which they nearly won. And a big part of why they were nearly in position to win was because of a play like this. Chase going up one-on-one against Jalen Ramsey. And this was a thing all Jamar Chase rookie season long was teams were saying, okay, sure, you're, a great prospect, but you're still a rookie, so we'll try to, see if we can have one-on-one matchups. And in this situation, sure, Chase has won some one-on-one matchups earlier this year, but it's Jalen Ramsey. You trust Jalen Ramsey against just about anybody, certainly against a rookie. When this play begins, though, you're going to see Burrow takes the snap. He is going to fire this one down the field. And again, it's not bad coverage by Ramsey. He's doing his best to keep up with Chase. But, there's a window there. And let's just be honest, even if there doesn't feel like an obvious window for Chase, he just finds a way to make the play work. Chase does track this one really well and makes the grab, gets them inside the 10-yard line, which would set up a touchdown. So really good stuff from Jamar Chase, and this is what he was doing constantly. It's funny where I think people are always surprised to hear how, he's not the tallest player. He's only 6 feet tall, and I think people usually think he's like 6'5" or something like that because of just how he plays. He's so good at those contested catches. He plays like he's Mike Evans, even if he's 5 inches shorter. But then after the rookie year, you did see a little bit of dip in his box score numbers. I think largely due to teams doing stuff like this. The Rams are playing a 2 safety deep coverage, which is what teams started just doing a lot more against Jamar Chase, which makes sense. You just kind of can't leave him one-on-one or he'll burn you down the field. So you kind of have to have, a safety deep on his side of the field, which usually means 2 safety deep coverages. However, when this play begins, you see that Chase's route, he cuts so well, and there's still a threat of him, going down the field, that when he cuts, the safety just doesn't get anywhere near over enough for this play to really work for the Rams. Burrow hits Jamar Chase, and Chase is still able to pick up a big gain. So even if he can't win those downfield plays as much, first off, there's still a ton of value just in being a type of player who forces the defense to play a certain type of coverage. That makes play calling a lot easier, all of that good stuff. But he still is winning. It's not like he's getting taken out of the play. It's just that his number one best attribute is kind of getting taken out of the play. And again, if we look at his Pro Football Focus numbers, if that's the kind of thing you're into, you see they actually say he's been quite consistent over these 3 years. His passing grade, which is his receiving grade, has only had a 1.5 point jump from his worst year to his best year in the 3 years he's played. So they say there hasn't been any dip whatsoever, even if the box score is maybe a little bit lower. So those are the players, but let's be honest, we all knew the players are good. We know Jamar Chase is awesome, and we know Penei Sewell is awesome, but that's not the question. The question I asked is, who is the better player and what was the better selection for the Bengals? I do think it's one of those things where I think neither team would accept a 1-for-1 trade right now. I think the Lions are happy with Penei Sewell, and the Bengals are happy with Jamar Chase. Which one would I prefer personally? I've always been kind of a believer, and I think that a elite wide receiver just helps you more than an elite offensive lineman does. I think that they're I don't know if I would say harder to come by, but I just think that they move the needle more for an offensive line. I've kind of always been a believer in it's better to just have a bunch of guys who are solid than to have the one elite guy. Although, again, an elite guy certainly does help out a lot. But that's really just a team building philosophy thing. For me personally, how I would much more align with how the Bengals build a team, which is get the quarterback, get the receivers, and go that way. Whereas the Lions are very much a build through the trenches philosophy. So it makes more sense to do what they're doing. So at the end of the day, I think several things can be true. I think if you're saying, well, should we have drafted this elite player or should we have instead drafted this other elite player, you feel okay about yourself. You feel like you did a pretty good job. So who would I rather have? Because again, we have to answer the question. I can't just give the cop out. They're both happy. That's not fair. I should give my opinion on it. I do think that I would probably rather have the elite wide receiver than the elite tackle, but I do think Penei Sewell is a better player than Jamar Chase is. I think that if we're, talking about, I think Penei Sewell is debatably the best tackle in football. I think Jamar Chase is the top 10 wide receiver in football, but I think Justin Jefferson's better than Chase. I think Tyreek Hill is better than Chase, just to name a couple. I would probably still put Trent Williams above Penei Sewell, but it's not obvious at this point with Williams' kind of play taking a step back last year. So you could definitely make the argument that Sewell is just the best tackle in football, and it's hard to not make the argument that he's the best right tackle in football. So definitely I think Sewell's probably the better player. If we're taking out positional value, I probably would rather have the wide receiver, and I think both teams are happy with the guy that they ended up with. So those are my overall opinions on all of this situation. The Penei versus Sewell debate that I'm sure will not be going away anytime soon because neither of these players are going away anytime soon. But those are my thoughts on all of this. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.